I can't actually see the screen now because of the sun. What a performance. Ah, there we are. Hang on, wait, Rebecca, sorry. There we are. Beautiful. Now, do you think I can make the thing go to the middle? No. There we are. Look at that. Isn't that amazing detail? Now, what I was hoping is that we might find something like a thrip, which is a sort of insect that lives in these things. But I don't see one there. Isn't that pretty? All of those little things pushing out little pollen buds. You can see the pollen. Now the sun's come out, changing the colour completely. There is a piece of dung there from an insect. Insect dung. Very nice to find. Good. Okay. I think you can come back to me now. Right, my earpiece has come out, but I believe what we're doing is we're going over to the Masai Mara, where Brent Leo Smith is with his cheetah. I did not hear what they're doing, but I'm going to have to keep waffling until the time comes for the actual link to happen, which will be now.
There we go. D'Artagnan is up again. He didn't choose the best spot. As the sun rises, the shades got smaller, but you can see we now have 3 of the 5 utilizing the shade of our vehicle. And well, if you're a cat and you're full and you're lazy, why walk all the way to the closest bush when you have Brent and Adrian next to you, and they just conveniently carry shade with them wherever they go? So might as well utilize that. I don't think it's going to be too long before we have 5 lying in the shade of our vehicle. Now, I've had cheetah, lion, and leopard do this to me, utilize the shade. It's quite relaxed, but sometimes when there's a lion, when a big male lion decides to use your shade and is sort of a meter from your legs, it can be a little bit terrifying. I almost feel bad about moving just now, taking away the boy's shade. They are going to be very lazy today, though. I think when we do move, they will move to the closest shade, which is probably towards the lugger. What will be interesting to see with their incredibly fast metabolism is how skinny they are by this afternoon. I don't think they're going to be dying to eat again, but I think they'll probably burn through quite a lot of that hartebeest just lying around, sleeping and digesting today. And they definitely do seem to be enjoying our shade. To give you an idea, they're probably 1.8 meters, maybe a little bit more, maybe 2 meters from the car. Gemma is wondering why did they not eat the stomach of the kill. Well, they didn't eat the stomach lining because it would mean opening up the stomach, and the smell would spread and probably bring in hyenas or lions. So they on big carcasses like that, they won't eat the stomach lining in case it attracts other predators. Very, very relaxed kitties, these. The one off to the right, outside of the shade, looks like it's got the biggest belly of all. I mean, look at that. That is an obese cheetah. Probably hasn't moved to the shade because it's too much effort to get up. Anna-Marie is wondering, will they return to that carcass or will they leave it for the scavengers? They will not return to that carcass. That carcass has pretty much they've eaten pretty much everything they are able to eat off it. And hanging around that carcass would make an easy target for other predators to get close to them. So they're unable to eat the bones, and they don't want to open that stomach because it will attract other predators. So they will not go back to that carcass at all. Yeah, no, definitely not. I think what's probably going to find it first is going to be the vultures, now that it's starting to warm up. And maybe the hyenas later this evening, or maybe even the jackals today. Now, it is quite nice when you park and the animals come to you, and that's what these three boys have done. So it has been quite a special moment. Or are we going to have 4 cheetah in the shade? So let's just wait a little bit to see if number 4 decides that the shade of our car is looking appetizing. Oh, and number 5. Both are up. And look at that belly wobble. These are happy cats. There we go. Number 4 is up and on his way to the shade. And you can see how close they are to us now. Hey, big boy. Rebecca says they look like Oompa Loompas with those bellies. And I think we're about to have the 5th Oompa Loompa join us shortly. He's just stood up. Come on. Come on. Yeah, kitty, 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 kitty. No, I'm only joking, of course. My talking to them will do nothing. The joy of the shade of our vehicle is what is attracting them. Now, this closest one is less than a meter away. Hey. Oh, he doesn't like the camera. The camera just moved down slightly. Well, you chose to come here, my friend. No, the 5th one is laid down in the sun again. So, and it looks like the 4th one is getting used to Adrian moving the camera a little bit. So when animals are this close, you have to move the camera quite slowly. So just relax, mister. And you chose to come lie next to us. But in the meantime, it sounds like Noel has found some antelope.
I have, Brent. Enjoy your cuddling with your kudus. I have found a cutlery, or sorry, you're cuddling with your cheetahs. I found a cutlery of kudus, something that those cheetah might like to eat if they were around here. Our leopard hunt has progressed to also finding what I think are Tandi's tracks, not far from where we heard her this morning. But actually finding either who we think is Tingana from the tracks and Tandi from the tracks hasn't happened yet. I'm still going round and round and round and round in circles. Some of the blocks that these tracks have gone into are very large and very thick. So we're going to cross fingers and hold thumbs, but it's getting very warm, so I don't know if we'll manage our leopard this morning, but you never know. So for now, we're going to enjoy our busily browsing kudu. That's lovely there. You can see how they use their tiny little pointed lips to pull off those leaves. Very palatable leaves, very tasty leaves. Kudus are quite particular in which types of leaves they like to eat. Only when we're going through a really bad drought will they sort of deter from their usual yumminess and go for something that's less palatable and less tasty. And notice how they don't eat everything on the tree. They eat a little bit here and a little bit there, and then they'll start to move on. They don't want to over-browse an area, because if they over-browse an area, then they won't be able to come back there and have anything to eat. Now, we've been talking a lot about ecology today, so because the kudu numbers, let's say, are good numbers here, you won't see that over-browsing. If we had an overpopulation of kudu or other browsing animals, you would see along the very palatable trees the devastating effects of that, and it would actually it would kill them off eventually because they would be so overbrowsed, which would then affect the nutrients that are able to go back into the soil, which would then affect the type of grass that would need to be able to grow around there, which would then affect the grazers, and so on and so on and so on. That's why I very much like to talk about food webs as opposed to food pyramids, because everything is interconnected in a web-like fashion instead of in those pyramid type schemes. Although I think if you stick the two of them together, that would probably be the safest bet. Kudus are also an indicator species of how the environment is doing. kudus and warthogs. So when your kudus are healthy and your warthogs are healthy, your environment is healthy. Now, something that I noticed when we had our drought a couple of years ago is our kudus were very healthy and our warthogs weren't, and that had a lot to do with the fact that the drought was affecting the grass and not the grass and the leaves. So the kudus were still able to browse efficiently, but the warthogs were having a really hard time getting any grass species or tubers for that matter, and we're actually starting to, I don't know, to scavenge the word that's the word I'm looking for, off of some of the dead buffalo just to get some nutrients. And so there you didn't look at both species, you just looked at one or the other. The browsing community was doing well, the grazing community was not doing very well at all. And that's one of the reasons why we're seeing less buffalo this year, is because of that drought that we had the other year. It greatly affected buffalo populations throughout the greater Kruger, because the drought was throughout the greater Kruger. Ooh, I believe James has some beautiful flowers he wants to show you with his microscope, I'm hoping. That microscope is so cool. So let's head on over to him while we keep looking for our leopards.
You can only see a little bit of the flowers.
It's okay. This one's going to do the job. This one has got ants in it. Hello, everybody. We've given up on finding anything large, and we're going totally micro here. Oh, there's a beautiful shot in the microscope. Those are leopard orchids you're looking at, but just quickly come to the microscope. Are we on the microscope?
We're on the microscope.
This is an ant in a hibiscus plant. And you can see how the pollination takes place. You see, it was stuck with pollen. Let me go back into the actual flower. There's another one. How cool is this? So that's obviously how this hibiscus is pollinated. There are more ants this side. There they are. How amazing is that? So something is attracting these ants into the flower. I'm not sure what it is. They're picking up the pollen. I'm not sure if they're doing it by mistake or if they're actually going to eat some of the pollen. No, they seem to be harvesting it. Look at that. Let me just get my focus correct. Now, these ants are harvesting pollen. Look at them all. Now, of course, they will then go on to another plant, take the pollen with them, drop off sufficient to create fertilization, and that's how another hibiscus will form. How cool is that? Now those are the male parts. That's the female part there that we're looking at now, that tall bit there. And that tall bit has clearly already had ant activity on it, because there are pollen grains there that will slowly slip down into the bottom of the flower, and fertilization will take place somewhere underneath. There's a tube that goes through that female part. How utterly astonishing. I think this is magnificent. VM, I hope that you're hearing lots of reports of people going ooh and ah. Are you? Not a single thing from FC. Oh, how sad.
They're going wow, apparently.
Oh, good. Everyone is going wow. That really is quite special. See, harvesting there. Carrying them in the mandibles. So they carry 3 or 4 little balls in their mandibles, and then the rest kind of gets stuck to the body. Look at that.
People are enjoying it, so they can take a bit longer.
That really is so spectacular. It's so much nicer to look at living things under this microscope, because you really get an impression of this kind of micro world. Now, unfortunately, I can't do anything about the light, because this microscope basically auto lights. So you've got a black thing on a black background with white things around it. The black thing in the black background almost always going to just disappear, which is why those ants are not in such great detail when they go onto the purplish red bit of the flower. How very special. Magnificent. Alrighty, I think let's take this microscope off here. Can we do that? Yes? Are you back with me? Yes? Yes, okay. Marvellous. Very special. I had to do that because a fly was savaging me on the arm. I hope nothing but the worst for that fly. May it die a painful death. Alright, apparently we are going to go across to Brent Leo Smith, who is in the Masai Mara, with 4 lazy cheetahs in the shade. I'm now blacked in again, so you can give me my time now.
So we now are still with 4 right next to us. And the 5th one is up, but let's see if he comes towards us or not. He's just sat up now. There he is. But the problem the cheetah are facing is the diminishing shade scenario. As the sun gets higher, our shade gets less and less, so they keep creeping closer and closer. And you can see one of the 4th one, he's now half out of the shade as it's disappeared. D'Artagnan has crept and crawled a little bit closer to us, and there he is there. He's full in the shade. This is truly an awesome experience. Not one you get to experience every day, but it is a magical experience. I was thinking about leaving, and I just thought, you know what? This is just too wonderful to be able to sit here with cheetah a meter from you and completely relaxed and just enjoying the shade. They are still quite alert, as cheetah always are, being harassed by all the other large predators, and this area has got a lot of lions and hyenas. Anupam is wondering who is the biggest cheetah of the musketeers. I'm not 100% sure. D'Artagnan is one of the biggest, but I think there is another male that is bigger than him. And I'm not sure on the names of all of them. I think they're like 63, 64, and 65. That was what the researchers call them. So I'm not 100% sure who is the biggest. And it's quite obviously very difficult to tell when they're all lying down like this. And with their massive bellies. Gizmo is wondering about the collar that's on D'Artagnan. So how often are those collars checked to do adjustments and stuff like that? Well, Gizmo, the joy with modern technology is a lot of these collars are on a 2-year release system. So the battery runs out at 2 years, or if the battery starts getting low, it will notify the researchers and send the GPS coordinates ping, and then it actually has a snap release. So it is generally put on to last the length of the battery, and unless there is an injury or something like that, the collar will be perfectly fitted for those 2 years. Now remember, these guys are pretty much done growing, so there won't need to be too many adjustments made. But so it'll normally just time release off, and the battery will make sure there's enough battery left that the researchers will be able to find it. It'll ping, so they can find it. So these collars will send off GPS off satellite. When is it? It's normally once a day or twice a day. Sorry, I think it's normally twice a day, depending on how you set it. And I think these collars are set at 6 and 6. So on the research projects and stuff I've worked on, the collars were set at 6 and 6. So especially with cats, it's a very good time to have the pings. At 6 in the morning, they're out on the move, so you know where to go find them. And the ping at 6 in the evening, when they're about to start moving again, if you are looking for them. Or with cheetah, the ping at 6 in the evening is more likely where they're going to be for the night. So from where they killed the little warthog, we're probably only about 800 meters away from there at the moment. So they did not move far at all before they caught that large hartebeest. As I said, it looks like, I still think it was early this morning that they managed to catch that large Coke's hartebeest, which has led them to be comatose at the moment, and I think they're going to be pretty much comatose for the rest of the day. Hey kitties. Fat kitties. Matt would like to know, can I smell the candy? But they do have a sort of all carnivores, but on a whole, cheetahs are quite cleanly in comparison to sort of lions or leopards or hyenas, but still they do smell slightly of rotting flesh. Guys, I'm going to have to be really rude shortly, cheetahs. I'm going to need to move my car, because if the sun keeps creeping the way it is, you guys are going to climb under the car, and we can't have that. That would just be rude. Okay, well, I'm going to go see if we can find Miale or Rosetta, the other cheetah, because these guys are not going to be doing much. We will check on them again, probably on the sunset safari, but for now, bye-bye to the musketeers. But it sounds like Noel is crashing through the bush after something exciting.
Brent, I do hope it turns into something exciting. We've gone round and round and round. Ooh, sorry. And the last tracks we had for Tundi were going inside of here. So because she's got the little cub, I don't want to go off on foot after her too much. The cub's still a little bit too small from my end, as from a walking standpoint. Sorry, I'm a little bit distracted because I do not want to hit a stump and fall out the car. So we're just having a quick little look-see in here because this is a perfect block for her to be in from all the tracks we got, as well as for anything she might be wanting to hunt. And we're checking the termite mounds, as well as all these beautiful marula trees here. We're on a bit of a crest, and when you crest like this, the type of soil that's up here is a little bit rockier, a little bit looser, and you tend to get a nice hodgepodge of marulas, as well as bush willows. So, these cheeky leopards today seem to want to be hiding, and I think because I'm busy bouncing around, it's a little bit hard for the camera work. So let's head back to Taylor, who's on a road and driving around, and see what she manages to come up with.
No, well, I don't know about a smoother road, unfortunately. We've had quite a bit of rain the last couple of evenings. Quite late, though. Sort of raining between 12 and 3 o'clock in the morning. And it's saturating the ground, so with there being so many tracks on the road, you're not quite sure which one you're going to slide into. So it's anything but a smooth experience. David, who you remember is will be on drive this afternoon, he's holding on for dear life at the back as we swing around. Craig just sits there normally now. He's used to it. I think he puts Velcro on the underside of his pants and on his chair, and then he kind of just sticks himself down, so he's got his hands free for camera movements. Well, that's my theory anyway, because he never looks like he's about to bounce out. So we're basically just doing a reverse route from what we did yesterday afternoon. We started, we hugged a little bit of the marsh. Remember, it has been raining quite a bit, so I don't want to go gallivanting and get myself stuck for like the 150th time. So we're going to do the same route that we did, and I know that it gets a little bit wet in a couple of sections, but nothing that the vehicle can't manage, and that I can't manage. So we're going to carry on along here, and I'm sure we'll meet up with some elephants that are still making their way towards the marsh, which would be quite nice, but that's still a little bit further down on the other side of those trees. And then if we're in that area, it is a good spot to see some lions, so maybe some of the tawny cats will be out this afternoon too. Not this afternoon, this morning is what I meant to say. Right, there was something I wanted to tell you all, but I've forgotten. Oh, yes. Stand by. So There's something I want to show you. I saw this pop up on Twitter, and Jamie hasn't replied to my messages yet, so I need some explanation, please. Is that Brent? And when did that happen? Craig, does that look like Brent to you? Where is this? And I want to know the story from Brent about what actually happened over here, because that kind of looks like somebody stuck in the mud. I don't know what you all think, but anyways, right, we'll keep driving and searching for elephants and hopefully solve the mystery of that picture and where it's come from. James, however, I'm sure is having a good chuckle about it too. And maybe James has got some stories of Brent getting stuck in his earlier guiding days.
There are far too many of those stories to share with you. Most of them you'd probably find quite amusing. I certainly wouldn't. I've got stuck on the road before. I am really very good at getting stuck. I have, in fact, been stuck on a road that I didn't turn off. I just got stuck. I don't even know how that happened. We've come to the old Hyena Den here, which is just off Zoe's Road, which is most of the way to the western side of Djuma. I had thought that maybe Tundi had come into this area with a kill, and that's why I just thought we'd pop down here and see if there was anything going on. Maybe there'd be something at the Hyena Den. As it turns out, there are a lot of very angry birds around, invisible angry birds. They're all shouting. But I don't see anything that should be making them angry, so maybe they're just angry with each other. And I don't think you can hear the birds shouting. There's some rattling testiculars going. Sounds like some canaries. Oh, and there are a whole lot of wattled starlings as well going. So that's what's going on here. I'll show you the old Hyena Den quickly. Unfortunately, there aren't any hyenas in it, and nor are there any leopards, as far as I can tell. Now, Viam, you were wondering yesterday about the Natal Gwari, weren't you, Viam? There is an excellent example of the Natal Gwari Euclea natalensis. For those of you who are wondering why on earth Viam should wonder such a thing, well, firstly, Viam is quite a sort of bush-interested person. The second reason for it is that it looks quite distinct from the magic Gwari, which has much more wavy leaves. Now let us continue. This is the old Hyena Den here. This was a lovely den when they were using it. This termite mound here. And there's a hole just around the corner. Where they used to come in and out. Now this hole looks to be relatively well used. You know what I think we should do? Why don't we just drive Ronald into it? We'll set that up. I think that's a really good idea. Might give us some kind of entertaining picture of what actually goes on inside one of those holes. Ronald might need a light strapped to him. I might strap my phone to him. So while I set that up, let's go to Brent, who is now going to make an excuse for why he got stuck. He's going to tell you that it was because the vehicle was broken and it wasn't his fault.
Coming to us shortly. Oh, live, apparently. I have lost some of them, so we've left the 5 boys, and we've just come across the biggest flock of ostriches I have seen since I've been here. Now, there look to be some sub-adult ostriches here, so it seems like we missed the chicks, but there must be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, over 20 ostriches, and some young ones, not babies, but young. They grow quite quickly, ostriches as well. But look at this. Have you ever seen this many ostriches? I have not in the Mara. This is definitely the biggest group of ostriches I've seen in the Mara. Lots of sub-adult ostriches. The majority of them are actually sub-adult ostriches, and I can see 1, 2, 3, 4 adult females. So that's probably the combination of 4 adult female nests. And there's different ages amongst the sub-adults. Isn't that incredible? I'm going to try to count them again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37 ostriches. Aha! Now, as the ostriches wander off, Taylor apparently is showing you pictures of me stuck in the mud. Now, and claiming that I am a member of the Marshmallow Club, or actually the founding member of the Marshmallow Club. However, I actually have a valid excuse. Our vehicles, when they arrived from Nairobi, were, let's just say, not in the working order they were promised. And I have a basic understanding of certain car mechanics, but not a very good one. And I can change tires, I can figure out if bearings are going and tie rods ends and stuff like that. But what happened is that Chiku, which is the tech vehicle, which was the first vehicle we had out in the Mara, didn't have diff lock or four-wheel drive. So we thought it did until the first time I had to use it. And it was on quite a small, not very big sort of puddle in the road, actually not too far away from where I am now. And it was one of our first trips across the river, and I was with actually David. And how we eventually got out is we actually had to drag a tree from about half a kilometer away to get under there. And the inside the top end of the gearbox where the four-wheel drive lever is, there's a little sort of catch that's supposed to pull the vehicle from high range into low range. Because of course, sorry, let me rephrase. Low range wasn't working. Land Rovers are always in four-wheel drive, but low range four-wheel drive wasn't working. And there was a tiny little number 7 nut. A number 7 nut. I mean, it is so small with my big fingers trying to get into a hole that is about...
Maybe not enough.
Are you live?
Oh, we're live?
Yeah, you got to close.
Oh, hi everybody, we're live. We're just driving old Ron Dog towards this den. He's got my phone strapped to him. That's not so that he can make an emergency call, but so that he can have some light when he goes down into this little den site. How cool is this? Okay, we're going to Ronald's feed now. Oh, I see there's no hole there at all. That is so disappointing. The hole is gone. It is closed up. Oh, how bitterly disappointing. I had great visions of Ronald driving into the den and finding sort of old bones and that sort of thing, like an archaeologist. I didn't even want to walk up and look because I thought that would be sort of cheating. Oh well. Sorry about that. There is a hyena den on Mvubu Road, which is a little bit more central that perhaps we could try. There's a picture of Wiem you can see. Say hello, Wiem. There he is. Okay, we'll drive Ron back to the car now. Please don't lose my cell phone, Ronald. I need it. And don't scratch it on your way here either. He's very good at this sort of thing, Ronald. Look at him. Tireless fellow. Come on then. Well done. You cannot look at him and feel anything but affection, really. Oh dear. He's getting a bit tired. He may be stuck now. Come on. Oh, they're still with us, Wiem?
I believe so.
I'm not plugged into my communications, everybody, as I'm driving. Sorry about that.
back to Brent. He's telling stories.
All right, I believe that Brent, who has never been stuck before by his own fault, is still in the Masai Mara, and he's still with his cheetah, and he still has lots to tell you.
James. James, how did you manage to get Ronald stuck? I think that's a new low. Anyway, so apparently we had some technical difficulties, some gremlins while I was in the story. So basically I waffled on about how my fingers were too fat to get in, and eventually we did manage to get into the number 7 nut, remove it, reattach the locking mechanism, and get the foil drive working for about 20 minutes before it popped out again. And then we decided it was time to call a proper mechanic. But the thing I want to note is, so I got stuck, yes, I admit I got stuck, but I got stuck in a car whose four-wheel drive and diff lock were not working. Taylor, Jamie, Ralph have been stuck, especially Taylor, has been stuck in a car with fully operational low-range four-wheel drive and diff lock. That is the difference. This is just incredible. 37 ostriches. Ostrich chicks have such a high mortality rate as well. Now, I think they're very lucky that the fast 5 are not fast this morning, but fat 5, because young ostriches would definitely fall within their sphere of interest in terms of hunting. Nancy is wondering, is there a name for this mini ostrich? I presume it's just a flock. I haven't heard of any other name or collective noun for ostriches. I presume it's just a flock. But I might be wrong. There might be one old, antiquated British. Well, there we go. There are a couple of different ones. So a flock of ostriches is the sort of most used one. Apparently they're also called a herd of ostriches, which is or a pride of ostriches, or a troop of ostriches, or my personal favorite, a wobble of ostriches. But flock is the normal one. But let's leave our flock or wobble and go across to a pair of birds creating a home.
So finally, we're back with Mr. and Mrs. Hammerkop, who we've been following their story for quite a few weeks now, well, since I've been back. So since the beginning of December. I can't remember the first time we actually saw the Hammerkops building their nest. Now, I don't think that this is their primary nest. I think that they have another one elsewhere, because we go a couple of days without seeing them at all. There's just nothing here. I think the longest we went was about a week where they weren't around. It was over the Christmas period, funny enough. So we joked and we said that they'd gone to their holiday home. They're on the beach and enjoying a summery Christmas, because the weather wasn't great down here. It was a bit miserable and rainy and overcast. Now this nest is transforming quite drastically. It's getting bigger and bigger, although it looks quite untidy at the moment. Hopefully they're going to do some neatening up, because when that nest started off, it was beautiful. Every stick had its place, and I think that might be the female that's hanging back. The male seems to be doing a lot more work, from what I have seen, flying back and forth, constantly bringing material, and it's almost... I suppose it is. It's kind of like a household. Husband's gone out to fetch all the furniture from the furniture shop and delivering it home, and then of course the wife takes charge and does all the decorating. I think that's what she's doing now. Into how big these nests can. Remember, they can get well over a meter, up to 2 meters, and they've got a long way to go. I don't even think they've quite finished their little chamber in the middle. She's dived down. I wonder if she's going to get mud. We'll see now when she comes back up again. So there's one that's fetching sticks, and then the other one keeps diving down. And we know that there's quite a bit of water down here, and there's obviously quite a bit of mud down on the banks. So what they will do is they will line the inside of the nests, the floor, the walls, with mud, with dung of sorts as well. But now that there's all this nice soft mud around, maybe that's what she's going to start to do. But I mean, we can only just speculate until we see her flying back up. But they haven't come back just yet. And this is the best spot to view the nest. If we go any further forward, unfortunately the beautiful leaves of the patternwood tree get into the way and we can't really see what's going on. But it doesn't look, I can't really see much mud at the moment. It's just sort of the twigs. But it'll be nice to watch it grow. And if any of you do remember when we first saw this nest, hashtag Safari Life, perhaps you can compare pictures from what is even the date today? Is it the 15th? Yes, it must be the 15th of January. And then compare it to the first time we saw it. And I think we'll notice quite a nice difference. And we'll just keep doing that. Eventually we'll build a collage. Week 1, week 2, week 4. So always remember to hashtag Safari Live. It's quite handy when doing these things. We can go back and have a look for all those things. Right, but now that they're not coming back, obviously taking a break or making sure they collect the best materials, we can take this opportunity to move on. Now, so just checking that there's no cars. Tim, you're wondering if they'll reuse the same nest. Once they've made a massive one, they typically will. And they will reuse them over and over again, and every single year basically just sort of fixing them up, really. Doing a bit of, essentially doing a little bit of painting, you know, maybe tightening some screws that have come loose, a door that's come off its hinges, just doing a little bit of maintenance work every single year. Obviously when you have big downpours of rain, heavy wind, all those types of things, your nest can, well, start to deteriorate. So it's only important to bring in new materials. Remember, everything that they're using is biodegradable, so it does wear out eventually. I've heard stories of hummerkorps collecting tins and wash rags and all sorts of things, and people finding them in their nests. I would imagine that would be in the more sort of suburb areas. I haven't seen it, but I've also never been down and inside a hummerkorp nest before. I can imagine the snakes and things that would want to hang around there too. So something to keep an eye out. If any of you ever walking around, say in South Africa, and you see a hummerkorp nest, have a look around, pick up a pair of binoculars, and let us know if you see anything shiny. Like I said, I've never seen it. I've just heard lots of people telling stories about all the strange things that the hummerkorp bring to the nests. Right, we're going to keep searching for some more birds. I might look for that African blue flycatcher. It's been evading me for quite some time now. Noelle down in South Africa seems to have had a change of heart on her game drive. Perhaps she's not chasing after Tundi anymore.
There we go. Sorry, I just had to fiddle with my mic pack. Sorry about that. So it's all good. So yeah, Tundi doesn't want to be seen this morning. It's hot. We've tried for about 2 hours, hour and a half. If she doesn't want to be found, she doesn't want to be found. We've worked this area pretty well, and I have a feeling one of the reasons why she doesn't want to be seen is those male leopard tracks were not far from where we found her tracks and heard her audio this morning. So it's possible that maybe Tingana came and was investigating where she's put her cub, and that always puts a mom in a bad mood. She's not ready for Tingana to be around yet. That cub's still too little. So we're on New Road, and we are following up on some elephant tracks. There's a big herd that's been moving through this area. We're trying to see if we can find them. And just enjoying the sunshine and the warmth. And that's about it. We can smell that there's a musk bull around, that really musky, urine, moldy smell that musk bulls have. And look, I'm still hopeful. We still might get our last minute leopard. But if not this morning, then maybe this afternoon. I'll take those wild dogs any day. So I'm curious to know what everyone out there is up to, or does everyone have to go back to work yet? Are you all still on holiday? What are your plans coming up? What's the weather like? We really need rain, so it can rain for the whole time in between drives today, if that's all right with everything out there. But it doesn't look like we're going to get rain just yet. Maybe this evening, but we could do with about 100 mils, no problem. Yes, these elephants were really going crazy on this road. I haven't been on this new road in a long time. And you can tell it's not really driven often. It's not very compacted. But it is a beautiful road. This little crest, this crest area with all of these marula trees is absolutely stunning. And our big puffy white clouds in the sky. It doesn't smell like rain anymore. It smelled like rain this morning a little bit. But everything has lifted up and pushed away as we thought it might. And it looks as if our elephants have moved more onto this side, and it's a very thick area. Lots of drainage lines in there, lots of good food for them to have, possibly some tiny little bits of water and mud. Alright everyone, don't forget, we are live and interactive, so you can send through questions and comments, hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or on YouTube chat. We had some really great questions coming through earlier. Let's keep them up, even if it's not a question about anything that we're seeing right now. Maybe a question about a sighting we had earlier. That would be fun. Alright, yeah, our elephants have moved off there. Okay, I think we're going to start heading back east. Maybe we'll go back to Treehouse Dam. Maybe something is drinking there in this nice warmth. Or maybe we'll pick up some nice impala or kudu coming along. PT, you're curious about if you can tell from leopards calling if there's a difference between one individual for another. So, PT, you can tell right off the bat if it's male or female. The females tend to have a longer call than the males in general, in my experience as well. Now, if you record those, at the end of each one, there will be a fingerprint to each. You can't hear that audibly from the call, but the reason why I was saying it was Tandi was the length of the call, and also the area that it was calling from was the area that she's been around in, so that's why I said Tandi. Shadow's been more in Little Gowrie, and it was a female calling, not a male, so that's why I said Tandi. It's very possible there's some random female that's come in, but if there's some random female that's come in, territory calling in your non-territory is a good way to get beaten up. It's not a smart move to do. So that's why I was saying it was Tandi. If we had been seeing Shadow more in that area, I would have probably said it was Shadow, and then also just the tracks we were picking up. If it had been a shorter, deeper, almost louder call, I would have probably said it was someone like Tingana, as Mvula's down there by Londo's, I believe, and then Tingana is currently the only male that I know of in this area that we've been traversing today that has territory and calls for it. The same with if the lions came on, we heard male lions roaring. 99.9% of the time, it's going to be the Birmingham males. The Brummies, and every now and then it might be some random male that's coming in, but it would be, for right now, the way that the situation's rolling, it would be unlikely. It's probable, but unlikely. Good question, guys. Keep them coming. More elephant tracks. Where are all these elephants we keep seeing tracks of? They're not here. We know some of them went over into Aratuza. Some of them went into the block back there. But you would think on a nice warm day like this that some of them would be making their way down towards the water, which is where we're headed. Maybe we get lucky. We're coming up to the area where Senzo and I had those dwarf mongoose attacking that black mamba. Maybe we'll get something fascinating like that happening. Now, James is busy with Rover, and he's busy with Ronald doing some sort of experiment, so I think let's head on over to him and see what he wants to show us.
I am. I'm just trying to see if we can get it into this Hyena Den. As Viam said to me, probably would have been best to put a rope on him. Now, I'm not sure he'll make it all the way up this hill. He is remarkable. Oh, gosh, I hope Alex Voss isn't watching this. We could easily lose the rover down this hole. And my phone. I'm not so sure about this anymore. It is scary, isn't it? Oh, we're not going to get him in there. It's too high. Look at all the bugs coming out. That's cool. And as Rebecca says, imagine a snake had just zapped it. Now, Alex, if you are watching this, I guess this is an indication that we might need to make Rover a little less tall. He's now stuck. And we need to put a torch on him. So that's interesting. The cell phone's definitely helping with the lighting. He is stuck now. I can't. There, come on. Don't get stuck. Come on, boy. Out you come. Oh dear. There goes my phone. He stopped moving! Come on, out you go. I think I can reach in there. Okay, hang on, I'm going to have to go up there. I'm glad there wasn't a puff adder in there looking at its babies. Oh, I can reach him. Thank goodness. Oh, I see why he's stuck. He's stuck on the roof. Well, that was a fun experiment. Alex, can you see? I've put my phone on as a lighting device. Who says anyone can't be in the tech team, hey? I mean, it's very simple, really. You can just imagine the looks that he is currently giving. There are some Franklins alarming over there. We'll just quickly go and have a look there in the last parts of the drive. That will be the end of Ronald's contribution to this drive. Well done, Ron. Good job. That was quite fun, wasn't it, Viam? Viam even smiled, everybody. Normally only smiles if there's a leopard to see. Alrighty. Let's get out of here. Taylor says I should be the marshmallow queen now because I got Ronald stuck. Taylor, if it takes some attention off of you, pleasure. Enjoy.
Yes, of course you're the marshmallow queen now. If you got Ronald stuck, it's not Ronald's fault. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a mind of his own. You control his mind, James. If you have to pull him out, then we're going to have to send this on down with the next person that goes back to South Africa. The marshmallow badge. I'm in Ralph's car. I'm in Pucker at the moment, the one that he's been driving around. So that's why the sticker's here. But I no longer hold... No, I don't hold the... No, I do. I'm talking absolute nonsense. I'm still the marshmallow queen. I think I'm the last... No, Craig, you are, hey. No, not Craig. No, I'm talking absolute nonsense. I've got myself so confused. I forgot after the last time I got myself stuck. Ralph only gave me about a week. And then Ralph got it back again. We just keep chugging it back and forth. Look at the little warthogs. Hello, little warthogs. Sorry, I'm just trying to get up a little bit further so that I can pull off where the car's not going to roll away. There we go. Hi, piggies. Oh, no. There aren't too many of them left. I remember the days when we were seeing this female running around up here with lots of little piglets. But very sadly, it isn't a shock that there's just two left here. We know that they are predated on by many different carnivores out here. Right, but they're happily grazing for now until a big eagle swoops on over. Brent is still on the other side in the Masai Mara National Reserve. Let's go find out what his plans are for the rest of the day.
Well, we're going to have a look around for Miale at the moment, see if I think she might be up towards the ridge, actually quite close to camp. And then probably going to go get some breakfast, some lunch, and then we'll be out early again with a ranger with us. So when we take a ranger, it means if anything happens after park times, we'll be able to stay with the action. Hopefully the storms stay away tonight, because that's the reason we didn't stay out late last night. There were massive storms, and if we didn't get out of the way, we would have actually been not able to move. But one thing I noticed this morning, which is quite fascinating, is that overnight, with all the rain in this area, about 1,000 or 2,000 zebra have moved into the area. And there are some lions around as well, you never know. But I think while we're in the Oloshaki area, I'm definitely going to keep my focus on the cheetah. So we'll try establish where Miale is this morning, so we know where she is for this afternoon. Hopefully she's still a bit hungry. Or we might find old Rosette. So you never know what's going to happen. So lots of options out here, and I'm very excited. It's turned into a beautiful day. It was really cold and overcast this morning, and hopefully it'll dry out some of the more sticky areas, giving us access to other areas. But now, while I keep searching for Madame Miale and her young male, let's go across to a very peaceful scene to end the drive all the way back in South Africa.
Cheers, Brent. Good luck with that. We found one of our elephants we've been tracking. Yay! But he's quite far away. He's across this little drainage line, but that's okay. You can see how well they actually blend in, and he's eating grass. He hasn't been eating a lot of branches. So we found him by the flap of his ears, out of the corner of our eyes, out of our peripheral vision. And that's how we spotted him. And he is by himself, a lone bull. Bulls are often by themselves. This morning we had a few together, but this one has decided that he prefers his own company, which they do on a regular basis, and every now and then come together. Especially when it's drier, or in drier areas, you tend to see lots of bulls together. Kobe, I believe you're going back to school tomorrow. I hope you have fun at school. Maybe you must talk to your teachers and we can do a school drive with you guys. And then I believe, Lara, you're saying you're going for a hike tomorrow. Oh, that sounds divine. I haven't been hiking in a while. I need to do Marieskop again. Marieskop is it is the highest point on the Drakensberg in our area here, in the northern area. And it's a lovely hike. There's some mango monkeys, and there is montane forests and all sorts of beautiful things. And then the view is absolutely spectacular. So I think maybe sometime soon I'm going to have to do that. Now our elephant is playing hide and go seek. Can we see just the back end of him there? A little bit of his spine. And again, how well he blends in. And he's picking through the bottom of these combretums. There's a lot of, because we're on the side of this drainage system where there's water that collects under there, underneath the soil, you'll see it's a little bit thicker on the sides here, and then you're getting a lot of nice grass growth. Alright, so it has been quite an incredible morning. We've had ellies, we've had hyenas and cubs, we've had cheetah, we've had wild dogs. We're just missing our leopard and our lion. So hopefully this afternoon we'll get leopard and lion, and then we will have the magnificent 7 in 2 game drives with our Wild Earth teams, our Safari Live teams here in the Sabi Sands in Djuma and up in Kenya and the Masai Mara and the Mara Triangle. So this afternoon we will be out and about, both teams again. We're hoping that you come and join us and see what magnificence we can find. Maybe Ronald will be out again, maybe more flowers and insects as well. And it looks as if it's going to be a warm day, but not too bad, so there should be some good sightings this afternoon, and hopefully some leopards that will want to come and say hello and stop hiding away. So for myself and Dobby and James and Vildy and Taylor and Brent, thank you all so much. Enjoy your day. We'll see you soon.